Hi everybody and welcome back to Dragonite Creations. If you're new here, my name is Laurel and I love to create, and one of my favorite things to create is gnomes, and I have today for you guys this very special little golfing gnome. He is so cute. There is a lot to him. We're going to make his clubs, we're going to make the bag, and we're of course going to make the gnome. I do have the pattern for the hat in the description below if you need that. So there is a lot to this little guy, so let's get started. Okay, we are starting with some normal gnome making materials here. We've got a pool noodle, we've got some hair foam rollers, we've got some little containers for our booties, we've got some small little brown containers for the front of the booties, and we've got some cotton fabric. So we're going to start by using a 15 by 6.5 inch piece. I'm using this so I can wrap it around him twice so you can't see through it. So we're just going to take it and hot glue a strip down the one side, and then fold it over, and then we're going to add our pool noodle to the other side, hot glue, and roll it up tight. I finished off with some hot glue, then some hot glue all around the top, tuck it in, some hot glue all around the bottom, and we're going to tuck that in as well. Next, we are going to take one hair foam roller, remove the wire from it. We're going to make those legs about 3¼ inches long. Make sure they're even at the top. Then we're going to add some wooden skewers to the middle, so I'm just going to remove the little paddle end from these ones here. And then we're going to pop those right into our hair foam rollers, add some hot glue, twist it right on there. Next we are going to add them to the bottom of our pool noodle here, so I just made some holes with the tool. Now I'm adding my legs, making sure they're in there nice and straight. Once you're happy with how they are in there, you're going to add some hot glue and twist them and make sure they're in there firmly. I just like to give a little twist. It seems to just get that glue nice and in there. Next we will start with our sock part of our gnome. We're going to use some toddler size socks, and I'm just going to cut off the top and then cut it in half. Then we're going to glue it good side to good side, just along the edge there. Same thing on the other side, a little sort of hot glue, and then fold it over and good side to good side, making two little socks. Now we're going to turn that right side out for both of them. Thankfully it is stretchy, so it helps turn it right side out. Next we're going to start with our pants. This piece of fabric is 8.5 by 4, and I'm just going to add a strip of hot glue about 3/4 of the way. And then we're going to fold it so that our seam there is right in the middle, making sure we have it right centered so it's even. Then we're going to give it a little snip so it's about the same length. Fold it up. Again, making sure it's about the same. Some hot glue right along a little V shape there. And now we've created our little pant legs. Turn it again, right side out. Pop those right onto our little pool noodle. This is a small pool noodle that I've cut down to be about 4 inches long. If I didn't mention that, I'm sorry. So a little hot glue right along the waist there, kind of gathering it all the way around. I like to try to put little pleats right in the front when I gather. It kind of just makes it look, I don't know, more pleated, I guess, if that makes sense. So just keep gathering all the way around with your hot glue. Then we're going to add just a little bit of stuffing right in those legs because we want them to puff out a bit. Not too much, just a little. And once you have enough in there that you are happy with it, just tuck it in, and we're going to add a strip of hot glue all on the bottom and gather it up, like push it up so that it's puffed out and all gathered there. It doesn't matter what it looks like at this point, we will cover them with our little socks. So just add some hot glue and gather it all up. So you still got like an inch at least sticking out at the bottom. Now we're going to take those socks, and I decided that gray part was a little too long, so I did just hot glue down the top there on the inside. I wanted more of the pattern of the socks to show, so I wanted to get rid of all that gray. And then we're going to turn those right side out again. And then we'll put his socks on. Well, I don't know if it's socks or more of a leg warmer at this point, I guess. I just don't think you ever hear often of people wearing leg warmers while golfing, but we're going to say that this guy does. So just keep pulling them up there. And then once they're on, you're going to add some more hot glue at the bottom again. Next, we're going to start with our arms. We're using another hair foam roller and took out the wire for that. I did decide at this point though that I forgot to make his belt, so I just used a strip about 4 by 1, and we're just going to hot glue down both sides all the way down at the back there, just so they meet in the middle at the back. So we have a nice strip here, and then just glue that all the way around our guy, starting at the back. Just wrap it around. Keep gluing till you get to the back there. And then when I got to the end, I just folded it over. Next, we will start with our arms now. For our arms, they are about 3.5 inches long. And then for the fabric for these, this is 4.5 by 4. Again, we're going to add a strip of hot glue, fold it over. Do that on both sides, just one strip of hot glue on the one end. Fold it over. Again, I doubled these up just so that you wouldn't see the arms through the fabric. It is a very see-through fabric, so I'm just going to roll it so it rolls twice over. That's why it is so long. So if you have a thicker fabric, you don't have to make them quite so long. So then you just add a strip of hot glue, roll up your hair foam roller into that fabric, trim off any edges. Next, we are going to use another strip. This is just, I didn't make a measurement of this. It's just a random piece. It's a scrap I had that I'm just going to fold down and make another strip, adding hot glue at the back so they meet in the middle. And this is just going to be the trim for the bottom of our sleeve here. So just cut it to size, fold it over at the end with some hot glue, and then tack it down. Same thing on the other side. Finish with some hot glue at the back or at the bottom. And then we're going to add our wires for our hair foam roller. So we're going to take the 2 wires, the one that we removed from the leg and the one removed from the arms. We're going to pinch those together at the top. We're going to add our hair foam rollers to these. So figure out about where you need them to be and where you need your wires to be. And once you get that all set, you can pinch those together a little more, add some hot glue so everything is attached. Once it's cooled, I then bent the wire down so it was nice and flat. We then trim down any extra wires. We do still need a little bit sticking out the bottom, but not very much. I now am going to trace out my hat pattern. You'll find that in the description below. So we're going to trace out all these pieces, however you want to do it. I am by no means a seamstress, so I don't do any pattern type things normally probably. So I'm doing the best I can for you guys. I'm trying to add patterns. So next we're going to cut out all those pieces. Then we're going to start hot gluing them together. So we're going to take the little triangle pieces and just start gluing the edges together of 2. And then once those 2 are glued together, you add another strip of hot glue along the other edge and add your second one, or third one, sorry. And then just keep going all the way around, just adding one at a time, gluing those edges together. Just all the way around, we're gluing. And now we're going to finish it off, so we're going to glue the first one we did on the edge and the last one together. Making sure the top is sealed, I added a little extra hot glue just at the little point there. Next, we're going to take the bottom circle, and we're going to add those so they are good side to good side on the edge. We're going to not all the way around at first. We're going to keep going just little bits by little bits. All the way around, almost until we have a little opening, and then we're going to take our 2 little flappy pieces here. I don't know what you'd call these, but we're going to glue those also good side to good side, but not, you don't need to glue the flat side, just the 2 rounded edges is good for now. Fold it right side out, that's why we didn't need to do that other piece. Now we'll add some glue on the inside a little bit just to hold it together. Some glue right at the front again. We're going to just keep going till we have about the right space so that this guy will fit right on the inside. You don't really want it to be sticking out this side as much as possible. And then glue all sides together. So some glue on the top of it and some glue on the bottom of it, and then squeeze it all together. Leave yourself a little hole so that you can turn this right side out. I forgot, so I did. Yep, ripped open a hole. There we go. Before it cooled too much, it was nice and easy to do. but it did rip it a little too much, so now I have to repair my big hole that I made. So I'm just going to fold those edges in and glue them together. As you can see, it's a little tricky, but it can be done. Just tack them down, kind of little piece by piece, fold each edge under, and then glue a little strip of glue on the inside, and then pull together, or pinch together, however you want to look at it. Now we're just going to kind of play with that, bunch it all out, make sure everything is sealed. If there's any little holes, add some glue. And then to finish it off, of course, you need to have the little pom-pom on our little golf hat here. So I just put a little white pom-pom on this one. Next, we're going to pick out some polymer clay hands. I've made these previously. I have a link in the description on how to make those. Didn't have quite the right color, but we'll paint those later. Next, I do have a faux fur beard that I cut out. This beard is 4 by 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to attach that with some hot glue right to the front, then make a spot for a nose. I then painted my hands and that hair foam roller that's sticking out the end. We didn't want that showing. Now we are going to take our nose and attach it. So that for this I'm using Gorilla Glue Clear Gel. This is the best glue I found for attaching polymer clay. So we're just going to add that nose now right in front of our Gnome. Some hot glue now right on top. And then attach our hat. Play around with it a bit, making sure it's even all the way around. Next, we are going to start on our booties. So for these, I'm just using some scrap cardboard. This is just from the hair foam rollers. We're going to take some little 1-inch containers and add that. And then some little 1-inch clear plastic balls. We're going to add those right in front of our containers. You can use little Easter eggs too, that works. We're then going to trim all the way around that, both booties. We are now going to add our fabric for our booties. This is 6.5 by 1.5. I'm using some faux fur that I had, or some faux leather that I had. So I'm just going to wrap that all the way around with hot glue, all the way around the bottom. Once you get to the back, you attach the back with some hot glue. Some hot glue right at the top of our little round ball. Stick it together right at the front. Some hot glue on the inside and tuck that in. It is a little difficult with the faux leather, but you can do it. I believe in you. So again, an L-shaped kind of hot glue strip is what I did on the butt there. And then just add your booty, roll it up all the way around, making sure it's attached. Again, with the faux leather, it's a little trickier. At the back, I'm just going to add a strip of hot glue and tuck it in there. Some glue along the bottom or top of the ball again. Glue along the inside of our container. Just tuck it all in. Try them on our little Gnome. I did decide that they need a little something more, so I did put a little of that same blue paint right on the front of his shoes, just on the centerpiece, and a little strip all the way around the bottom. We're going to start making our golf bag. So I'm using a cardboard tube from aluminum foil. It is 4 by 1.25 inches. I did add a little white circle of the faux leather to the bottom, and now we're going to add some faux leather all the way around. This piece here is 5 by 5.5 inches. So I just glued all the way around the bottom and then gathered it. And now we're going to glue the seams together along the middle there, and some glue along the top and gather again. Now we're going to make some slits all the way around. Add some hot glue to that and tack those in. And the reason we gather like that is so that it kind of has this little puffy look, you can see. So it's not actually attached to the tube around the edges. Next, I'm just cutting a strip of this aqua colored bubble minky, and we making 2 strips. They are about 7.5 by 1 inches, and we are just going to hot glue the top and bottom down to the back. So a strip at the top, strip at the bottom, and glue them to the back so they meet in the middle. And now we're just going to add those 2 strips to the bottom and the top of our golf bag. So all the way around with some hot glue. Some hot glue, wrap it around. Next, we're going to make our pocket. For that, I cut a piece that's about 1.5 by 2 inches, and I just cut like a U-shaped piece. And now we're going to use that strip of the bubble minky again, and we're just going to glue that good side to good side all the way around. It's kind of hard to get around those corners, so just go little bit by little bit right to the top. Finish it with some hot glue so it meets on the top there. And then once it's cooled, we're going to wrap it around, fold it over, and just tack it down to the back of the pocket now. Next, we are going to work on some straps for our bag. So these are about 5 by 1/2 inch for this piece here. And again, just hot gluing down our edges at the back so they meet in the middle. And this one here is about 5.5 by 1 inches, and we're just did the same thing. And now we're adding that white strip on top of the blue strip. Some glue right at the top of that. Add it to the top of your bag, right over where that seam is. Same thing on this side, right where that top of that seam is. Some hot glue into our Gnome boots. And we'll pop our gnome right in there. Next, we are going to work on our clubs. So for that, we are using some polymer clay, and these are just some thin wooden skewers. Cut those down to size. These are about 4.5 inches long when they're complete. I did vary it slightly. You don't want them all exactly the same length. So next, we're going to just take some polymer clay, wrap that around the top of our club, making our grips here. So just wrap it around so it's nice and smooth. And then cut up so it's nice and straight bottom there once you get it all smoothed out. For the bottom piece, I did have to add a little Bacon Bond to the club itself with a little clay just to get it to stick to the little club part. So that now I'm just forming my shapes. You can do all different shaped clubs if you want, whatever you decide you want to do. Have a little bit of fun, make different ones. So you can see I made a little hole, some Bacon Bond in there to help make it stick, and then just smooth it out so it all is smooth together. Add some details to the club itself. Again, there's our Bacon Bond. Add our club to the bottom. Just showing you some different variations. I added a little clay, as you can see, over that Bacon Bond. It just gives it something to grip onto when we add our little club here. That one's more of a putter, I guess. I'm not really a golfer much, so I'm not very good at this, guys. Sorry. I did go look at my husband's clubs lots to inspect what shapes and sizes to get, though. So again, this is like a little wedge here we're going to do. So just cut a little piece off. Make your hole in it to add your club, or the stick of your club there. Little Bacon Bond in there. Attach. For the club that our little golfer got a little upset with, we're just going to form that right out of clay. So we're making like a snake shape. Then just use a tool to form where the grip would be. Now we'll form the bottom piece the same way. Little hole, little Bacon Bond, push that in right in there with the clay. Smooth it out some more. I did make some details on all of the grips all the way around. Just ran my tool around it and kind of spiraled it just so it had a little bit of a texture to it. And then I'm just going to shape that bent club. So now we're going to bake those all up at 130 degrees for 45 minutes. Once they are all out of the oven and cooled, we will now take some chalk paint. Is the easiest way to get these covered quick, I find. You can use any black acrylic paint though. And just cover the whole thing with black. For the base, I'm going to use this faux grass craft sheets you can get. And I'm going to attach it to this wooden base just from Dollarama. I got this. This is about 4.5 inch square. So we're just going to hot glue that together and then trim off the extra of the grass, the faux grass. Then for our clubs, I'm just going to take them now, and this is a rub-on silver paint that we're just going to rub on. You can use a regular silver paint. I unfortunately was out, so I just used the rub-on stuff. Worked good though. And then the handles, I just went over some black acrylic paint. Took my just a daughter tool and added some little blue dots on it just for some detail. just on the handle part there. Next, we're going to add some hot glue to the bottom of our gnome's booties. We're going to glue him right to our base, wherever you want to put him. I put him kind of in a corner there, just so I can add everything else. We're going to glue the bag right beside him. We're also going to attach some clubs. So I picked which one I want to put in his hand, and then the other three I just put in the bag loosely, just so I can play around with them if I want to. And then we're going to add some of that clear gel Gorilla Glue to his hand. I did decide that that's not the hand I decided I wanted to put it in. I wanted it in the other hand, so I ended up taking that off. And I also realized, oh, I forgot to glue his hands on. So we're going to add some of that Gorilla Gel glue to attach his hands to our wires on his arms as well now. So we're going to glue that in. Glue that in. This is when I decided I don't really want the club in that hand, so we're going to glue it to the other hand first. Luckily, it was not dried yet. It does take a few minutes for this to dry, so you can play around a bit if you have to. So while that's drying, I added some glue also to our twisted club. We're going to glue that right to our grass base as well. And there it is. There he is, our little golfing gnome's all ready to go hit some balls. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for joining me again today. I really appreciate all the comments and support I get from you guys. It really means a lot, and it really keeps me going. So thank you so much. And until our next tutorial, thanks for watching.